This is MarginMachine, where we follow the money behind AI. Last year, one guy deposited $6,800 in a single month narrating audiobooks. He read 0 of them. Welcome back to another side ledger, where we skip the pitch decks and go straight to the ledger. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how he built that number, project by project, tool by tool. And the obvious explanation, that he just cloned his voice and pressed play, is wrong. The actual mechanism is weirder, and the margin is hiding somewhere most people completely miss. His name isn't important. What matters is what he was before this, a mid-tier freelance voice actor on ACX, Amazon's audiobook marketplace. He was making around $1,400 a month. Decent. Not life-changing. The problem with ACX is brutal and structural. Authors pay per finished hour of audio. Industry rate, roughly $150 to $400 per finished hour, depending on narrator reputation. A finished hour takes a good voice actor about 3 to 4 hours to produce, recording, editing, mastering, proofing. So at $200 per finished hour, you're making maybe $50 to $60 in real hourly terms. You are the bottleneck. You are the factory. Then 11 Labs released their multilingual voice cloning model. And he started doing math he probably shouldn't have done out loud. The math pointed somewhere interesting. But getting there required solving one problem that the AI could not solve for him, and that problem is what actually makes this business work. Here's the exact cost structure, as he's described it across several forum posts and one podcast interview. 11 Labs Creator Plan, $22 a month. That gives him around 100,000 characters of AI voice generation per month, roughly 90 to 100 minutes of finished audio. He also uses Descript for cleanup and alignment, $24 a month. And a one-time purchase of Adobe Audition for mastering templates he built himself, call it amortized at around $5 a month. Total monthly overhead, approximately $51. That's it. No studio rental. No acoustic treatment. No $800 microphone. If you saw our video on the $180,000 software AI killed for $29 a month, you already know where this is going. The cost compression is almost offensive. But here's the part nobody mentions. The $51 in tools is not what makes this work. What makes this work is a single pricing insight that completely reframes who his customer is. And once you hear it, you'll wonder why every voice actor isn't doing this. He stopped competing on ACX for high-volume romance and thriller titles. Those attract dozens of bids. Margins get crushed. Instead, he went after a completely different customer, independent nonfiction authors. Specifically, authors who've already self-published on Kindle, have a small but loyal readership, and want an audiobook but can't justify $2,000 to $5,000 for a traditional narrator. His pitch is simple. He charges $120 per finished hour, below market rate. A typical nonfiction book runs 8 to 12 finished hours. That's $960 to $1,440 per project. Sounds thin, right? Here's where it inverts. With AI generation, one finished hour of audio takes him about 25 to 35 minutes of actual work. Prompt cleanup, quality check, light mastering, file delivery. So at $120 per finished hour, he's effectively making $200 to $280 per hour of his own time. He runs 4 to 5 projects a month. Do the math, $960 times 5 is $4,800 at the low end. In his best documented month, he ran 7 projects. That's where the $6,800 came from. But there's one thing he does before every single project that takes 2 hours and costs nothing, and skipping it is why most people who try this fail. Before he generates a single second of audio, he reads the book. Not all of it, he schemes strategically. He marks every proper noun, every unusual word, every acronym. He builds a pronunciation guide inside 11 Labs. He runs test generations on the first chapter and listens back at 1.25x speed, the way a commuter would. This takes 2 hours per project. It sounds obvious. Almost nobody does it. Because people who approach this as a pure automation play skip the proof. They deliver audio where the AI mispronounces the author's name in chapter 1. The author leaves a bad review on Fiverr or ACX. The gig dies. He, instead, has a 4.9-star rating across 31 completed projects. That rating is his actual asset. It's what lets him stay below market price and still have a waitlist. Would you have quit your day job at $3,000 a month, or waited until you hit $6,000? Tell me in the comments, because his answer to that question explains everything about his next move. And his next move is where the numbers get genuinely strange. This is where everyone gets it wrong about AI side hustles. They hear $6,800 and assume it was linear. It wasn't. Month 1 with the AI workflow, $310. He was still learning 11 labs, still losing time to bad generations, still figuring out which author profiles convert. Month 2, $890. He landed his first repeat client, an author with a 3-book series. Month 3, $1,950. He raised his delivery speed and started a Fiverr Pro listing. Month 4 through 6 averaged around $3,200 a month. The $6,800 month was month 9. 11 projects quoted, 7 delivered, 4 rolled into the following month. Net profit after the $51 in tools and about $200 in miscellaneous software and stock music licensing, roughly $6,550. His effective hourly rate that month, based on logged hours, $194. That's not passive income. That's a real business with a real skill component. But there is one cost he doesn't talk about in the forums. And it's the one that could unwind everything. ACX's terms of service. Amazon's audiobook marketplace has explicit language about AI-generated audio. As of early 2025, narrators are required to disclose AI usage, and some rights holders are beginning to reject AI-narrated submissions outright. He knows this. His solution is to work almost entirely outside ACX now, direct deals with independent authors who retain their own rights and distribute through Findaway Voices or Draft 2 Digital. That removes the ACX compliance risk. But it adds a sales burden. He spends roughly 4 hours a week on outreach, cold emails to Kindle authors, LinkedIn messages, a small newsletter he sends to past clients. That's the hidden labor cost the headline number doesn't show. Still, even with 20 hours of outreach per month added in, his effective rate stays above $140 an hour. The margin is real. But it is not maintenance-free. And there is a version of this business that is closer to passive, one that 3 people have reportedly built on top of his exact model, using a structure he didn't invent but definitely inspired. We follow the money here every week, subscribe so you don't miss the next trail. The question this whole story leaves open is whether the disclosure rules tighten further, and what happens to these businesses if Amazon decides to audit its narrator catalog. But there's a second question, maybe more interesting. One of the people who copied his model isn't doing audiobooks at all. They're using the same AI voice stack, the same pricing logic, the same 2-hour prep step, on a completely different content category that pays nearly double per finished hour. If you want to know what that category is, and whether the numbers actually hold up, click the video on your screen right now.